Okay, so Konami have just announced that we are getting one final Quarter Century Rarity collection following Quarter Century Bonanza, and the community is a bit surprised considering the scale of Bonanza and the two Rarity collections that preceded it. I mean, we just got about every reprint we could ask for from Bonanza, but Konami seems to think otherwise, and we will get one more installment, core set of 80 competitive cards, and another 200 card pool of nostalgia picks from anime cards to GOAT, Edison, and more. I'm really interested to see how they fill this set out. It feels like 200 is a big ask. I'll get to what I think are some of the cards that will make it, but my god, it's now just the best time to get into the game, especially past formats, because it's just so cheap to get all of these reprints in high rarity, and Konami is getting to the point where it's going to be hard not to have every staple you could want if you've been buying these rarity collections. Quarter Century Stampede is set to release in April, and I'll go over some of the possible nostalgia cards that will appear in the set, starting with anime cards. Personally, I feel like most iconic anime cards are pretty available, even in high rarity, and I'm really hoping we can get some alt artworks for anime cards in the pool. We've seen a lot of alt artworks for spell cards like 1 for 1, Harpy's Feather Duster, Limiter Removal, and Polymerization. So maybe this set will introduce some alt arts for monster cards that don't already have alternative art. Iconic monsters like Relinquished, Dark Necrofear, Barrel Dragon, pretty much every boss monster from Battle City. We really don't need reprints of these cards, but alt artworks would be a huge draw of the set and would definitely be something fans could get excited for. We've got so many alt artworks for cards like Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, so I really hope they do something different with this set. Let's talk about GOAT. We got tons of great reprints in Bonanza, like BLS, Breaker, Injection Fairy Lily, and tons more. Some GOAT reprints we really need are Abyss Soldier, Delinquent Duo, Metamorphosis, Thousand's Eyes Restrict. We are getting a Tribe Infecting Virus reprint in the upcoming Battle City Finals Speed Duel box, and that will come in common and secret rare, which is much needed and could still make Stampede with how many cards that were reprinted in Bonanza that were also in the recent Megaton. I wouldn't put it beyond Konami to reprint Tribe in Stampede as well. The last 2 years, Konami have shown that they will reprint anything that isn't Air Neos. There are still a lot of cards that could use a reprint in GOAT format, like Abyss Soldier, isn't too expensive, but doesn't have a high rarity printing, and is still a bit pricey. Gakagiru Panda has 0 printings other than the common, and for a common card, it is very expensive. And I definitely hope this gets into the set because it would look great, and anyone wanting to play Panda Burn would want this card. Tsukiyomi and some other spirit cards definitely have a high probability of being in Stampede as well. Cards like Metamorphosis and Trap Dust Shoot also fall into the category of expensive and rare commons with no high rarity printings. Let's hope we see Konami add these. There's still some staples of the Warrior deck from GOAT that could do with a QCR, like Blade Knight, Don Zalug, Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke. I think it also would be nice to see Pot of Greed and Ring of Destruction. Considering Graceful Charity was in Bonanza, these two GOAT staples seem like good targets to be included in the nostalgia pool. Floaters like Mystic Tomato and Shining Angel, Giant Rat as well, would also be nice to get into high rarity and fill out the set. Edison is another beloved format, and with tons of Edison cards being in previous rarity collections, I'm expecting more to make it into Stampede. Phoenixian Cluster Amaryllis has become absurdly expensive in the last 2 years. It only has the one super rare printing in Raging Battle, and is upwards of $30 to $40 now. I'm happy I got 2 of them 2 years ago for like $3 each. It's an Edison card that really needs a reprint, and a high rarity reprint would look amazing in all those Edison plant decks. We saw a lot of frog cards in Bonanza, like Subsitoad, Treeboard Frog, and Swamp Frog. Feels like Dupe Frog is a good shout for the nostalgia pool, considering it's a staple in the Frog engine and is a hard card to get. Obviously it has a common printing, but I've noticed those are kinda hard to get for a fair price, and Dupe Frog also has a super rare printing from Turbo Pack, but it's the same story as the common printing. It's hard to get at a fair price. It usually goes for upwards of $20, so I think a high rarity printing to match the rest of the Frog engine for a hard to acquire card makes a lot of sense. We could also see more X-Saber reprints. We already got Airbellum and Gothams in Bonanza, and a lot of the X-Saber cards are either expensive and hard to acquire, or not in high rarity. And considering it's a somewhat popular Edison deck, I expect to see a few in Stampede alongside other Edison staples like Dimension Prison, Bottomless Trap Hole, Royal Oppression, Royal Decree even. Having these cards in high rarity to fill out the 200 card nostalgia pool just makes sense. And we've seen generic spell and trap staples in every rarity collection so far. Other Edison cards that can make it into Stampede could be some of the Lightsworn cards that haven't had a rarity collection reprint yet, like Wolf and Jane, among others. Follow up Judgment Dragon, Honest, and Raiko QCRs. As for some outside shouts for random cards in the Nostalgia set, I could imagine the Nordic God cards. They're not that hard to get, meta relevant, or even iconic, but they could make the cut. More Dragon Maid cards could also get into Stampede as well, and I expect elemental heroes to find their way into the set no matter what. Whether that be the vanilla cards from the anime, or possibly heroes like Nova Master and maybe alt art heroes are definitely a possibility. I'm not too into modern Yu-Gi-Oh, so I won't comment on the potential core set of Stampede, and I could spend an hour speculating on what reprints might make it into the nostalgia pool, but I'll just ask you guys what cards you would want to be in this final quarter century rarity collection. I'm sure we'll see something similar to Bonanza, but I'm really hoping we get some good alt arts for some iconic cards that don't have any yet. For me, that would make Stampede a really interesting set. Anyways, let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.